Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Lamplight City. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed the first episode of the series. I know I did. And it looks like the hero of this piece is going to be Miles Fordham, a cop with the cunning of a fox and the accuracy of a stormtrooper, because he accidentally shot his partner Bill. And it's 3 months later, and it looks like Miles is actually being spoken to by, I guess, Bill's ghost? I guess we'll have to figure that out. Let's go ahead and take a look around here. Got a nightstand.
Miles, care to explain what you're doing?
Just checking to make sure everything that needs to be in here still is.
Right. If you start taking that stuff during the day, you're really going to have problems.
He's taking a medication.
Ha, that poster brings back some memories. That's from around the time you two met, isn't it?
Yes, back when Addie was singing at the Angel.
So Miles' wife used to be a singer. Good to know.
It's admirable just how organized Adelaide is. Maybe someday the same can be said about you.
I'd be driven insane if I had that voice talking to me at all times. Pressed flowers.
Adelaide's mother certainly enjoyed pressing flowers. Do you suppose she does more of it now that she's retired? Cozy little winter getaway. That would be a welcome change from the winters in this city. I always like that self-portrait of Adelaide's mother, even if the eyes do always follow you around the room.
Oh, I hate that effect.
That's a fun little apparatus Adelaide got you. Very soothing.
Watching it spin long enough puts me right to sleep.
I'd say that's really more the soporifics doing. Remember before you started taking that medicine and you could actually read a book for more than 10 minutes before falling asleep? You were a lot more fun to talk to back then. I'm certain a permanent indentation in the shape of your rear is starting to form on that thing. Wouldn't you say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles? You've been wearing that coat for who knows how long.
So? Addie gave it to me. Besides, it gives me character.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never been seen before.
What are you talking about, Bill?
Never mind.
Steampunk Dresden.
Pretty, but I'm glad I don't have a sense of smell anymore.
Yeah. Oh, Bill's hat.
You should have let me be buried wearing my hat. At least it wouldn't be gathering dust like it is now.
If I'd done that, it would be dust right now.
Heh, fair point. Adelaide's last performance. She could really bring the house down.
Was it 3 months? It may have been a little bit longer than that.
Well, look who's awake. Ready to rejoin the living?
Very much so.
You were talking in your sleep again.
Did I say anything interesting?
Do you ever?
You have to admit, she's got you there.
Ouch.
How are you feeling?
A touch groggy. I think I took a bit too much of the soporific last night.
That's what I thought. When you went for your after-lunch nap, you'd barely gotten breakfast down. I saved you some bread and cheese if you're hungry.
Thank you, but I haven't got much of an appetite.
You really should regulate your doses more carefully, love. I'm sure dull senses and an empty stomach aren't much help to your work. By the way, a message arrived via courier for you this morning. I put it on the table along with today's newspaper.
Thank you, dear.
Okay, it looks like things are relatively okay in the household.
I always liked that painting. It's impossible to see that kind of scenery here in the city. It might do you some good to look in the mirror a bit more often, Miles.
Adelaide Fordham.
If there isn't a pair of scissors or a hairbrush in Adelaide's hands, you can bet there'll be a book. How are your parents doing these days? It's been ages since you wrote them. Didn't I give you two that clock as a wedding present? Too bad it stopped working. I can see why Adelaide calls that plant Miles Jr. It's a spitting image.
At least his name's not Chuck.
You remember how much time Adelaide had to spend convincing you to sit for this? At least these days, with ferrotype tech advancing the way it is, these portraits can be done in just a matter of minutes. Your book collection has always astonished me. Heaven help you if you ever decide to move. Your book collection is always
Okay. We'll look at the newspaper and the message here last, and also talk to our dear wife.
That makes me wonder what old Mrs. Handbrook is up to these days. Adelaide's father certainly had an amazing life. Imagine being the personal barber to the Prime Minister and his family. The gossip and secrets he must have heard. Building those model ships was a good way to pass the time between cases. Hopefully it'll be a while before you get enough time to build another one.
Hint, hint.
Ah, the Havisham case. Our first time out as partners. First in a long line of successful cases. It's nice to have a memory of the good old days. I'd love to see the look on Snelling's face if he ever found out you kept your old truncheon. Bollingworth Ale. My favorite! And a nice souvenir from the Angel. You really ought to go back there someday.
Not a whole lot of trophies.
It's been so long since you used that desk. Did you even notice when Adelaide got rid of the chair?
Addie?
Yes, dear?
Whoa. Okay, she looks lovely. He's starting to look more and more like Kylo Ren.
How's work going? Do you have any appointments today?
Yes, one this evening. It's been a bit slow lately, but pretty soon it'll be debutante ball season, and all the Gascon grand dames will need their hair done. You sure I can't convince you to let me give you a little trim? You've been looking awfully scruffy lately.
What's the point? I've got no need to go peacocking around town. You're the only girl for me.
I like it when you're clean cut. It brings out your eyes.
The way my eyes have been looking lately, I think it's best to keep them hidden.
I like it. It's kind of Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Sherlock Holmes mixed with Adam Driver mixed with Johnny Depp's version of Ichabod Crane from Sleepy Hollow.
How are you? It feels as though we haven't seen much of each other these past few days.
I've been fine.
Addie, you're not a very good liar. What's on your mind?
I'm worried about you, Miles.
I know, but I've told you there's no need to worry about me. I'm all right.
You're not all right, Miles. I may not be a good liar, but you can't fool me either.
I am all right. What do I have to do to convince you of that?
You could start by throwing out that sleeping medicine. It's turned you into a different person.
I needed to sleep, Addie. I'll become an even worse person without it, believe me.
I know Bill's death was hard for you. It was hard for all of us. But whatever it is that's bothering you, you know you can talk to me about it. That's what I'm here for.
I know, my love. Your support means the world to me. I need some time to deal with things. That's all. It won't always be like this, I promise.
Making promises you can't keep, eh, Miles? That'll end well.
I've still got that song you sang last week at the Rutherford stuck in my head. You were amazing.
Thank you, Miles. That was a lovely evening. I always enjoy it when Joseph brings out his violin and we can relive the old days.
Certainly nicer than when he spends hours telling the exact same story whenever you visit.
They were very glad to see you, you know.
It's probably the most fun I've had in months, to be honest.
They've invited us for dinner again in a couple of weeks, if you're feeling up to it.
I hope I am. What's that you're reading?
It's a collection of short stories by James Penstroke. It was just published earlier this month.
Any good?
Oh yes, I love his work. He's been publishing a new serial in Brentwell magazine. I can't wait to read it. Perhaps we both can together? I think you'd enjoy him.
Lately, I haven't been able to concentrate on a page for more than 5 minutes without nodding off.
That is a pity.
I'll let you get back to your book.
That's a shame. So there definitely are issues underneath the surface. Let's look at the message first. Fordham, a big case has come in which I think will interest you. Meet me at the Rowan Coffee House for more details. See Upton.
Upton says she's got a big case for me.
Does she go into any more detail than that?
No, but then you know Upton. Always on a need-to-know basis. Especially since she's been giving me these cases under the table.
To be fair, they haven't exactly been anything of note.
True, but she's still sticking her neck out for me. I can understand why she's so secretive about it.
I think she just misses having you around the station.
Poor Connie. With you quitting and me dying, she must be bored stiff at work.
Anyway, I'm supposed to meet her at the Ruin Coffee House. That can't be right.
It's not like Constance to make mistakes. She must have gotten in somehow.
Guess I'll head over there and see what she's got then.
Casebook updated. Oh, good grief. This actually reminds me of imperialism. Remembering the HMS Ligeia. This Tuesday marks the 3-month anniversary of the tragic crash of the HMS Ligeia. Ooh, okay. Ligeia was preparing to make its second transatlantic voyage when disaster struck. We heard about this in the first episode. The airship burst into flames shortly after departing for England, crashing into Foster Park. All 300 passengers on board, including His Royal Highness Prince Harold, were killed, as were 54 bystanders in the park. That was the Zeppelin in the background. Royal Maverick Lines conducted an investigation and ruled the crash an accident, citing the ignition of a gas leak. Oh, the humanity! Despite this, rumors of sabotage persist. Royal Maverick vowed to instill stricter safety regulations going forward, and that the Ligeia sister ship, the HMS Lenore, would be extremely safe upon its completion. There's been public outcry and protest at the... Continue on page 7. Gascon, Grand Dame dies. Madame Laura Dupree, age 44, died on Saturday of apparent natural causes. Born Laura Chesterton in London in 1800, she and her family moved to New Britannia in 1804. In 1818, she married Colonel Andrew Shepherd, a royal officer 30 years her senior. The marriage lasted 1 year, ending with Shepherd's death during a trip to Piedmont. Shortly after, Dupree married Benjamin Montgomery, a doctor. They had 2 children, Juliet and Andrew, born 1820 and 1821 respectively. Sadly, Benjamin died of tuberculosis in 1830. 5 years later, Laura married Jean Dupree, a banker. Dupree was known throughout the community as a great humanitarian for her policy of exclusively employing humans rather than using automated service machines in her manor. Funeral services to be held. Dupree? Ethericity. It's real and it's coming, says scientist. The existence of ethericity, a substance said to possess both energetic and restorative properties, was first put forth 2 years ago by Dr. Bennett Clark. His presentation at the annual Vespuccia Science Conference at the University of New Britannia was extremely divisive. Dr. Clark claims that ethericity exists in small amounts on Earth, but is mainly located in the celestial region commonly referred to as the aether. Imagine electricity, but hundreds of times more powerful in addition to powering our lights and machines. It can also significantly reduce the effects of aging and heal the sick. The sky will no longer be the limit, he described. Dr. Clark has yet to secure significant funding for his experiments, as his harshest critics have dismissed him as a crackpot. However, there are those who believe that... Second bizarre murder baffles police. And this is Monday, September 23rd, 1844. New Britannia police have investigated a murder in Shamde, similar to one which occurred in that borough just last month. Though many details are confidential at this time, we are able to confirm that both victims have been male and died from gunshot wounds. New Britannia police declined to reveal any further details and denied rumors that the murders are being committed by a serial killer. We have no reason to believe that these murders are related, said Chief of Police Reginald Snelling. We have our finest detectives on the case and hope to find whoever perpetrated these awful crimes very soon. In the meantime, we ask the citizens of New Britannia, especially those in Cholmondeley, to remain vigilant and report any and all suspicious activity immediately to a police officer. Coverage will continue as the story unfolds. Well...
Let her read in peace for now.
Don't you tell me what to do, Bill. I'm leaving because I want to.
Enjoy your reading. I'll be back soon.
Take care of yourself out there.
So essentially we're kind of a subcontractor now. Ooh. Nice. I like this. Fordham residents, the Fenton Swamp, Lyon, Chomedy, Gascon, Hodgman River, Atlantic Ocean, Ruined Coffee House.
Ah, the Rouen Coffee House. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Ooh, serving girl, hello. Coffee machine, painting. Let's look at all the things. We've got a scythe up here.
What a cheery reminder of everyone's impending death. That whole thing about the man in the black robe, complete lie, by the way. Nice seaside landscape. Definitely a stark contrast to the ambiance in here. Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills. Absolutely guaranteed to restore vitality, youth, and vigor or your money back. For use by men only. These things seem to have had a spike in popularity recently. Green's Sulfur Soap. Beautifies the complexion and leaves you smelling fresh as a daisy. Talk about false advertising. I couldn't get a date for a week after using that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's sulfur.
Dr. W.S. Sales Wonder Tonic. The best and safest medicine for both gentlemen and ladies. Prevents consumption, general weakness, feverishness, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, loss of appetite, flatulence, and head pain. They should also mention that it prevents breathing, heartbeats, and being alive.
Those side effects, though.
Not in much of a hurry to clean up in here, are they? He's missing his left arm below the elbow. How do you suppose that happened? He and his friend are having quite the conversation. I bet it's really boring. Best avoid that one. He looks like he might tip over at any moment. Reminds me of when I was alive. Ah, good times. Self-Portrait as a Desperate Man by B. Calvert. A bit like looking in the mirror, isn't it, Miles?
Shut up, Bill.
Professor Xander Colt Tit III's emulsified soporific, available at all discerning pharmacies. I really don't know why you think taking that rat piss every night is a good idea for them.
There's so much life in this world. They put a lot of work into this.
Simon Banks, professional chimney sweep. Services start at 2 coppers per hour. Inquire at 305 Merrick Lane. I'm sure he's a lovable urchin, but thankfully, your chimney is clean. P.D. Preston's patented papier-mâché perambucat. Handsomely upholstered in silk, satin, or velvet, and hand-painted in the most artistic manner, as shown in engraving. I suppose if you and Adelaide ever finally decide to have children, something like this will come in handy. All that metal and tubing just to serve a hot cup of coffee?
Yes, indeed. Still, to this day. Oh, there's Constance. Okay.
Seems like they have a little something for everyone in here. She's running back and forth at lightning speed. Clearly, she dips into the coffee supply.
As you do.
The specialty house brews. These are definitely not coffee. Judging by the sooty apron, this man is either a metal worker, a chimney sweep, or just really lazy when it comes to washing. Just one of many patrons contributing to the oppressive thug in here. Give me an old-fashioned tea kettle any day. A young woman holding a guitar. Completely the wrong way, I might add. If this is how they store their coffee beans, it's probably a better idea to ask for tea. Asleep at a coffee house. One of life's little ironies.
Yeah, I was about to say. All right, let's have a chat with Constance.
If it isn't my old friend, up to no good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
How did you get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
I got your message. What's going on?
It's time for you to join the big boys again, Fordham. Your days of finding lost cats are over.
So stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura Dupre?
Yeah, we read about that in the newspaper.
Laura Dupre. She's one of those Gascon Grand Dames, isn't she?
That's right. I'm surprised you've heard of her. I didn't think you cared about those types of people.
I don't, but Adelaide has several of them as clients. She gets paid to pretend to care about their lives, and I get to hear the sordid details.
Madame Dupre died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her coffin.
She wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Nearly interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. Dupre's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on Dupre. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right, then find the person who was really behind this.
Has Madame Dupre recovered from her ordeal?
I'm afraid not. Apparently she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
How unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street Jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
And the Dupre home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse, right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about before you get started?
Sure.
Yes, actually, I had a couple of questions.
Let's hear them then.
How are things going with you?
Work is hectic as usual, and I'm spending my day off in here. But considering my home life is still a shambles, maybe this is the best place to be.
I'm truly sorry about that.
Don't be ridiculous. If it hadn't been for you, I'd still be chained to that philandering bastard. It hasn't been easy, but I'm much better off this way. Trust me. Anyway, work gives me something to focus on. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes, and I'm grateful to you for getting me these case leads. I know you're taking a risk to do it.
It's the least I can do. How about you? How's Adelaide?
She's fine, although things between us could be improved, if I'm being honest. The less said about it right now, the better, I think.
I'm sorry to hear that. You can talk to me about it if you need to, although I'm probably not the best person to ask for relationship advice.
Kind of like a combination of Lestrade and Mrs. Hudson.
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder.
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority. The general attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Yes, I know, but it looks like you're on your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See, she has a priority strain. You could learn a lot from Upton.
Okay, nothing to review right now.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Let's go ahead
Well,
and...
I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar, but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion.
Let's check the documents. Message from... Oh, we couldn't get the... Because I think we read about Albert Martin in the newspaper. Now the question is, where do we go first? Coffee House, Dupree Manor. Let's go ahead and head to the jail. I love the fact that it's spelled G-A-O-L. And then we'll go check the other places. Well, first off, let's head back to the Fordham residence because I want to read that newspaper.
Ah, home at last.
It's always nice to see you walk through that door. So what's this big case Upton's got you on? Another missing pet?
If only. A Gascon Grand Dame was attacked and almost interred alive.
You mean Madame Dupre? The one whose obituary was in the paper?
The very same.
Goodness, that does sound serious. Tell me if there's anything I can do to help. I know you haven't been feeling your best lately.
You're always a help to me, Addie. Though I assure you I have this well in hand.
I certainly hope so.
What did that say? Andrew Shepard. Did I read that right? Dupree... Oh, maybe not, actually. Okay, never mind.
I shouldn't be gone too long.
I wish you'd let me fix your hair before you go out like that.
It'll be fine.
He's going through the poof stage.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something the cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you, too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
Wow.
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he?
Jailkeeper.
He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business. I bet that's a direct line to the police department. You should make a rude noise into it when Giles isn't paying attention. Not much of a view. But then it's not as though people in here are meant to have many luxuries.
Yeah, I like the torture implements there in the foreground.
Either crime is low, or the police aren't doing their jobs very well. Not much in the way of comfort. No bed or even a bucket. It's a good thing this place is meant for short stays.
Cat of Nine Tails as well.
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. My name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
Indeed.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
Yowza.
So it wasn't you, then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin.
Yeah, wasn't she, like, known in the paper for her philanthropy and whatnot? Probably just a public face.
Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Dupre's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter, Juliet Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
No, not at all.
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say, had the same taste in books and art, didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
But the thing about her working in botany is interesting because that could lead to the creation of certain potions or allergens that could have caused that comatose state.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Dupre. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... How can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
Okay, so he's from a voodoo family.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Dupre's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
Wait, before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?
Yeah, that makes no sense. That's a code word. All right, guys. Well, we've gotten back into a case, or back into the real detective work, and we are in a doozy right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we're going to go here in terms of the twists and turns of the plot and the clues we're going to get. So we will continue next time. Hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.